Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a truly massive modern phenomenon, and that is the incredibly rapid global expansion of Islam. I mean, whether you're looking at tiny, quiet villages out in the countryside or the super busy streets of the world's biggest cities, there's this undeniable shift happening. Millions of people are actively learning about Islam, reading the Quran, and adopting the faith. It is a massive demographic and cultural movement. So today, we're going to break down exactly how and why the whole thing is happening. So here's the big question we really need to answer. Why is Islam growing so fast right now? Like, what's the actual driving force getting millions of people, a lot of them from totally different cultural backgrounds, by the way, to pick up a Quran and accept this religion? And geographically, where is this growth hitting the hardest? To really understand this global ascent, we've got to rewind and map out its historical roots, and then look at the very real catalysts driving it today. Here's our roadmap for The Explainer. We'll kick off with 1. A rapidly growing phenomenon. Then 2. From Mecca to the world. 3. The global footprint today. 4. Drivers of modern growth. And we'll wrap up with 5. Resilience and the future. All right, let's jump straight into section 1. A rapidly growing phenomenon, the modern demographic shift. Okay, the sheer scale of this is just staggering. We're talking about over 1 billion people. More than 1 billion Muslims live on Earth today. That's a massive, interconnected global population. And setting the stage with this number is absolutely crucial. Because, a population doesn't just hit 1 billion overnight. A number like that represents centuries of expansion, integration, and some serious cultural development. Let's move to section 2. From Mecca to the world. A 1,400-year journey. Let's rewind the clock for a second. If we go back more than 1,400 years to the desert city of Mecca, Islam literally started with just one man, Prophet Muhammad. And the source material points out that in those early days, it wasn't easy. Muslims were a heavily persecuted minority. They were weak, they were poor, and they faced torture just for believing in one God. A lot of people back then thought their religion would just fade away. But man, the timeline tells a totally different story. Over the following centuries, the message spread all the way from Arabia into Asia, Africa, and Europe. And the cool part is, it wasn't just through conquest. Our source highlights that everyday Muslim traders carried the faith with them just by being honest and kind, while scholars shared knowledge through books. All of that slowly built the foundation for the great civilizations and the billion-plus followers we see today. Now for section 3, the global footprint today, deep roots and surprising shifts. When you look at where the traditional strongholds are today, the map might actually surprise you. You'd probably guess the Middle East is the biggest, right? But nope. Indonesia actually has the world's largest Muslim population. Meanwhile, Saudi Arabia is still the spiritual anchor, pulling millions to Mecca and Medina every year. Then you've got Pakistan, where the call to prayer is just woven into everyday life, Turkey, with its incredibly rich Ottoman history, and Egypt, which is home to Al-Azhar, one of the oldest centers of learning in the world. In these nations, the faith has just always been a historical constant. But here is where the demographic shift gets super dynamic. While those majority nations rely on deep cultural roots, there is a fascinating trend happening in minority nations. Like in the United States, mosques are popping up and growing constantly as people start studying the Quran on their own. In the UK, Islam has basically become one of the largest religions, with thousands converting over recent years. So the growth in the West isn't just about generational birth rates. It's being heavily driven by active conversions and independent research. And honestly, the wildest part of this, it's how much this growth thrives even when there's intense friction. Look at places like France and Germany. Our source notes that Islam is spreading there despite massive political debates and negative media controversies. Actually, when you look at the data neutrally, a lot of converts say they only got interested in Islam because they kept hearing negative things about it on the news. That negative coverage just kind of sparked their curiosity. They did their own digging, went straight to the source material, and eventually decided to convert. It totally backfired on the critics. Moving into section 4, drivers of modern growth, technology, simplicity, and brotherhood. So what's driving this modern boom? First up, the digital pipeline. Because of smartphones, geographical isolation is just gone. Literally anyone, anywhere, can pull up a Quran recitation or a deep dive lecture in seconds. It leads to this rapid independent learning phase. A person sitting completely alone in their bedroom can discover the core tenets of the faith and stories of the prophets in minutes. The barrier to entry for learning about the religion has essentially dropped to zero. Okay, so once they have access to it, what's actually hooking them? A lot of converts talk about the sheer simplicity of the theology. It's incredibly straightforward. There is only one God. Every single person is completely equal before Allah, meaning a billionaire and someone with nothing stand shoulder to shoulder when they pray. Plus, there's a huge emphasis on mercy, charity, and patience. And there's an emotional hook too. Our source points out that many people, even those who aren't Muslim, find this deep, profound sense of peace just from listening to the Quran being recited. Even if they don't understand a single word of Arabic, the sound itself just somehow connects with them. And that whole idea of equality, you literally see it in action during Hajj. This concept of global brotherhood is a massive draw. Every single year, millions of Muslims gather in Mecca. They completely ditch all their designer clothes, their watches, any markers of wealth or status, and they just wear simple white clothing. You've got Muslims from Africa, Asia, Europe, and the Americas all praying side by side. Different languages, races, cultures, all totally united. It is an amazing visual testament to the teachings of the religion, and it absolutely captivates people watching from the outside. Finally, Section 5, Resilience and the Future, Challenges and Projections. Now, we've got to be objective here. This global growth isn't happening in some perfect, easy bubble. The religion faces very real modern challenges. Muslims in many countries deal with discrimination, fear, and outright Islamophobia. The media still frequently connects the faith to violence or extremism. Add global political conflicts on top of that, and you get some really deep misunderstandings. These are very real, very tangible hurdles that the global Muslim community has to navigate every single day. Yet, despite all of that pushback, the growth just keeps going. Why? Well, think about modern life for a second. We've got all this technology, all this wealth, but it leaves so many people feeling incredibly stressed, lonely, and just empty. People are searching for something real, and when they read the Quran, they find an antidote to that modern emptiness. They find super grounded teachings on patience, how to pray, the importance of family, and forgiveness. For millions of people across the globe, Islam simply provides the meaning and purpose that modern society sometimes fails to deliver. Which brings us to the number 5. This really captures the resilience of the faith. Think about it. Throughout history, Islam has survived wars, colonialism, shifting borders, and intense global criticism. Entire empires have literally risen and fallen away, but through all of that, the daily rhythm of the faith has never skipped a beat. The call to prayer still rings out 5 times a day all across the earth, and millions still bow in prayer. From the quiet deserts of Arabia to the loudest, busiest cities on the planet, the message is still reaching people. And every single day, without fail, somewhere in the world right now, someone new is quietly reciting the Shahada, saying, La ilaha illallah. There is no God except Allah. I want to leave you with this one final quote from our source material. Islam grows through faith, peace, and truth. When you take a step back and look at the whole picture, the massive population growth, the unprecedented digital access, and a whole generation searching for meaning in a kind of chaotic world, it really forces you to wonder. With this kind of resilience and incredible conversion rate, is it only a matter of time before Islam becomes the world's absolute largest religion? It's definitely a demographic shift we should all be paying attention to. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and as always, keep learning.